Hi, I'm Mary Amato. I love getting letters from readers. I often get great comments and questions in the mail. For example, I just got this packet of letters from fifth graders in New Jersey from a school called McFarland Intermediate School. And the writing in these letters was just fantastic. So I thought I would share some of their questions and comments. Listen to this first one. I'm dying to know a few answers to some questions. It's like having lice on your head. You never stop thinking about it. My first question is, what happened to the dulcimer? In the book, Robert makes a dulcimer, and it really is for Ayanna, his love interest. And I imagine that he does send the dulcimer to her, and I imagine that they do continue to see each other and have a developing relationship. But I never say that in the book. I leave some things unanswered. And why do I do that? I think it's because I wanted to show just a slice of Frankie's life and not explain the whole thing. A mountain dulcimer is an instrument that's played on your lap. Press down on the strings and then you strum. Here's an interesting comment from another reader. The cover does not go with the story. I get a lot of letters from kids saying that they wonder about the choice of the cover. Writers don't necessarily get to pick their covers. It's the job of the publisher. The publisher is in charge of making the way the book looks, of designing the book. I thought you might like to see the German edition. The book has been translated, and this is a picture of the cover in Germany. So as you can see, this publisher wanted to put Frankie on the cover. Here's another comment from a different reader. First, I think you should have told the readers how Frankie's mother died. It left me hanging like a monkey from a tree. Isn't that good writing? I didn't say in the book how Frankie's mother died. I imagine that she had an illness and that she died from that illness. I didn't say it because there didn't seem to be a graceful way for me to introduce it. It seemed artificial if I had the characters say, you know, Frankie's mother who died of cancer. Mostly because the entire book is written in Frankie's point of view. It's her diary, except for the email letters from Ayanna. So it just didn't seem realistic for me that Frankie would write that detail down. She already knows. And I try to make my books as realistic as possible. What inspired you to write the Naked Mole Rat letters? In fact, how did you think about writing about what you wrote? Did you just sit around thinking what to write about? Then this idea popped into your mind and so you wrote this book? The Naked Mole Rat letters started with a kind of a similar personal experience. When I was in the 4th grade, my mother died. And when I was in about 7th grade, I came home from school one day and found a letter addressed to my father. And it was from a woman I didn't know. I did something I shouldn't have done. I opened up the letter and I read it. It was a love letter to my dad. And he was falling in love with a woman who I didn't know. It was very upsetting to me. I didn't do anything about it. I just kind of kept that knowledge inside and I didn't talk about it. Much later, when I was all grown up, I thought it would be interesting to write a story about a character who has something similar happen. Frankie finds an email about her father falling in love. And I decided to have Frankie do what I didn't do. Frankie has a lot of guts and she's very bold, and so she writes back to the woman, and that starts the whole book off. So sometimes choosing something that happened to you, but then asking yourself, well, how could this be a story if it were played out differently? That can be a great way to come up with a with a book idea. Okay, here's another question. How did you come up with the names for the characters in this book? Names like Skip and Nutter must have been hard to come up with. The characters were so quirky and their names were funny and original. I love thinking up character names, and I try to make my names really stand out. I try to think of names that I think also have meaning. For example, Nutter is kind of a little nut. You know, he's silly and he's so cute, and so I thought Nutter would be a good symbolic name for him. Skip gets kind of skipped over because he's the middle child, and he's very private, and a lot of drama goes on about Nutter and about Frankie, but Skip has his own drama too. And I thought Skip would be an interesting name for him. Frankie, actually the word frank means honest, and the word wallop is a kind of a nickname for a big lie. And Frankie really has to work between those issues of telling the truth and telling a lie. That's what a big part of the story is all about. So I thought it would be cool if I put those two things together and made the name Frankie Wallop. So I really used my imagination to try to come up with my names. Well, a lot of the readers in this class wanted to know if I am writing a sequel to the Naked Mole Rat Letters. I don't have a sequel planned. I have so many other book ideas that are clamoring to be written that I haven't set aside the time to work on a sequel. But I loved a lot of the ideas these students wrote in for what they think would happen if the book were to continue. Thank you so much for reading the Naked Mole Rat Letters and for writing such terrific letters. Keep up the great work.